the strut, the factory strut, because it's so long and it gets caught right here once you release everything, is you have to remove the subframe, which sits like this. There's 3 bolts, 15 millimeter up front, and there's a plate right here of 4 other bolts that are 15 millimeters. Once you remove that, the whole thing comes out, and then you remove the lower control arm. You remove this, and you can't get the lower control arm out unless you remove the subframe, because this bolt right here is so long that the subframe sits about right here. So you can loosen it and it won't come out. So you have to remove the lower control arm to get this bolt out. Other than that, you just have this other bolt, which is I think a 18 up top, and then another 16, and then of course the lower ball joint right here. So once you get all that, it drops the whole lower control arm, and this whole hub can move down, let me focus, and get it off of the hub, get the strut off the hub. So I'm going to take that down, and I'm going to show y'all how the strut will come right out. The BC coilovers are so short that they just fall right out if you just drop the upper, I can't remember what that's called, and then the brake line, and of course the bolt in the back. Here's one of your bolts. This is the long bolt that physically can't come out because the subframe sits right here, and this bolt's so long, and the back of it is locked in, so you don't have to worry about the nut on the back. It just comes right out. It's a 16 millimeter. Pull it out. See how long that bolt is? It won't come out unless you remove that lower control arm, or not lower control arm, the subframe, like I said in that first video. Oh. 18 up top, 15 on the bottom. I'm making a video to remove this lower control arm. Bolt comes right out. Last but not least, where the ball joint is. After you remove all 3, jack up the, compress the strut, I guess, hammer her down, arm out. So now the whole strut will fall. Now I just got to do my stuff up here. It's 18 on one side, 11 on the other. Maybe. Take the bolt out, remove your, what is that, tie rod. You remove this little guy. I don't have very much knowledge terms. Remove your brake lines, make sure they're not gonna come out. And then because you got the jack underneath the rotor, when you lower it down and you have the whole lower control arm out, the whole thing comes right out. Instead of it, this piece will get caught on the stock strut. A lot of people have troubles with that. It's literally probably like that much longer. In the BC coilover, you can just take it right out. But the stock one, the lower control arm keeps you from getting the strut out. So if you remove the lower control arm and everything tied to the strut and let it down easy, don't let it just drop like I did, because your brake lines are... Just in case of people in this video, future reference, if you do lower your car and you really want to be low, just make sure, I advise you to pay attention to stuff in the road. And if you're wondering what that pile of liquid that has been absorbed up, it's actually my transmission. Oh, because I had a giant hole in my transmission right there, and that's because I hit this boat motor in the road, and it put a giant hole in my transmission. So I'm in the process right now of removing the transmission, but I figured since I am making a video for the strut, might as well explain why there's a massive oil-like substance on the floor. For some people that are trying to, there's no videos out there of how to remove the, let's see, where's the axle? This is the axle out of a 2013 Dodge Dart. There's no videos out there on how to remove that. I took the fender well out because I'm actually doing something else. But to get the axle out, you remove everything, and there's nothing holding this in, and there's actually a hole right here where you can put a pry bar up in there and pry it out. But once you actually get everything, like the whole hub and everything, out of the way, it just slides right out. But obviously you remove the bolt that usually is in the middle of your rotor, and then I removed the lower control arm and obviously the strut, and I took the brake caliper off. That way I could just remove the whole hub in general. There is a sensor right here. It usually, let's see, is connected right there. That's to measure your speed, so make sure you don't rip that out and don't rip your brake line out right here. So I tied it up, but basically you remove the whole hub and the bolt, and it's pretty simple to pull it out. That's your transmission on the left side. The right side is obviously longer because it has to make it sway all the way to the left side of the vehicle, but it's pretty easy.